Vidyaku Paramardham Moksham. That's the essence of education as far as Upanishad is concerned. You know that Upanishads have come after Vedas. And the Upanishad said the purpose of education is to attain moksha. We believe that every human being has a desire to know God. Every human being has a divine essence in himself. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, మానవునిలోని దైవాంశమునకు పరిపూర్ణతను సిద్ధింపచేయనిదే విద్య. Every human being has a desire to know God, and it's education that should lead the human being to reach God. That's the desire. My friends, how far our education has done what it is supposed to do? That's what we'll try to look at it. My friends, I'll quickly look at three aspects. What education tried to do, but what education could not give us. Number one, education has given us technology. And I know I'm speaking in a prestigious institute called National Institute of Technology, Warangal. And you are people who are the cream of India. I know that. There's no doubt about it. What technology has basically given to us, it has given us 3 W's. It gave us wings to fly high. It has given wheels to run fast. It has given windows to see wider. We are able to see wider, fly higher, and move faster. But is that all what the education could give? Is that all what human being needs? Probably we are missing one more W. And what is that? Let me give that to you through a small event that happened in NASA. In NASA, there is a very famous scientist by name Clark Pinacco. Clark Pinacco is the one who designed Pathfinder. You know, Pathfinder is a 64-inch instrument which has 6 wheels and moves on its own through a robotic control. And Pathfinder was made to move on Mars. And this man, Clark Pinacco, was controlling Pathfinder from his office room. People around him were watching him and they were telling, Clark, you are an amazing guy. You are able to control a machine that millions of miles away through a small knob. Do you know what Clark Pinacco said? My friends, I want you to be attentive. He looked back and he said, with all the knowledge and information man has, he can control anything that is outside him. He can control anything that is outside him. The only thing that he cannot control is inside him. That's his own mind, his own soul, and his own spirit. Our technology is able to control anything outside, but we are not able to control ourselves. And that's the reason university, which is supposed to be the most educated, can become most uneducated at times. Because we cannot control ourselves. Because we cannot control ourselves. So what I'm trying to say is this. If I have to control this light, I have to go to the switchboard. If I have to control the mic, I have to go to the amp. If I have to control my mind, where should I go? I might be overstepping, but I have to make this statement. I have to go to God. My friends, we are living in a world of technology, but we missed one thing called theology. You know the word ology means study of. Add anything before it, it becomes the study of that. Bios is life, biology is the study of life. Zoo is animals, zoology is the study of animals. Theos is God, theology is the study of God. If you are able to bring God into your life, probably you can control yourself. The 4th W, what we are missing is wisdom. Wisdom. Wisdom is what God gives us, my friends. Blaise Pascal, who gave us barometer, who gave us calculus, who was instrumental in bringing the concept of computer, was once an atheist, and he was driving a cart that is driven by 2 horses, and it was crossing a bridge, and one of the horses started jumping up and the cart started pulling down. Blaise Pascal doesn't know how to swim. So he was holding on to the cart and he was screaming at the top of his voice. Some illiterate guy who is walking on the road pulled Blaise Pascal. Do you know what Blaise Pascal said? Please listen to this. Oh man, what you need today is not science. What you need today is a savior. What you need today is not science. What you need today is a savior. And then he goes on to make a statement like this. Oh God, when you made us with a God-shaped vacuum. Unless and until that vacuum is filled by you, man is incomplete. Man is incomplete. Friends, as technology students, I want to make one statement. In all this world, everything is programmed. In all this world, everything is programmed. Planets are programmed. Plants are programmed, animals are programmed, everything is programmed except one thing, that's you and me. We need to program ourselves. And we don't know how to program ourselves. We always try to follow somebody. And we think we are great. And we always fall back. So the first statement I'm making is this. In this world of technology, we miss theology. The second one is this. We live in a world of information. Information is so fast, my friends. If I'm making a statement here, it can be heard across the globe, and you don't need a big gadget. What all you need is a smartphone with Facebook Live. That's enough. You can show it to the whole world if you want. If you are connected, you can show it to the whole world. That's the speed with which the information is sent all over the world. But do you know what we are missing? In this world of information, what we are missing is application. I'm not speaking about an application form. What I mean is this. You know that you should not lie, but you can't. You know that you should not be corrupt. You should not be bad, but you cannot do it. You know you should not overstep, but you can't control. Manasa uruko ante urukode. Agu ante agade. You cannot control yourself. You know what you ought to do. Em cheyalo neeku telusu kani cheyalevu. We live in a world of information, but we don't have application. Laksu sabbu konukunte saripodu. Dindi kinda kaadu pettukovalsindi. Ontiki raasukovali. Am I right? You know everything, guys. You know everything, guys. But when you don't know how to apply, how you feel. Let me give you a classic example. Imagine an old man walking, and imagine it's raining, and this man is drenching in rain. And when you look at that man, you feel so pity. Oh, this man is drenching in rain. Just imagine if that fellow is having an umbrella under his arms. What do you call him? That's you and me. గొడుగు సంకలో పెట్టుకొని వర్షములో తడిచేవాణ్ణి వెధవా అంటారు. That's what we are. We have information, but no application. Let's come to the last one, the third one. We are living in a world of feeling. Feel my love. Trigger my passion. Just do it. A dil mange more, jo chahe ho jaye. Look at all these statements, my friend. What they are trying to suggest you. Whatever you feel, you do it. Whatever you're having in your heart, you do it. You experience it. You shell it out. You don't have boundaries. You unbound yourself. That's the world we are living in. My friends, last month, this is what happened in India. In Delhi, in a place called Dwarka. Please listen to this. In a place called Dwarka, a 4-year-old girl came home completely, her skirt is in blood. Her mother was asking, what happened? This 4-year-old girl doesn't know how to explain. She's trying to explain what has happened in the school. And it's horrible. Her 4-year-old classmate took her into the washroom, stripped her, took a pencil and raped her. And what do you call? Is it innocence?
Do you want to blame the social media? Do you want to blame the movie world? Okay, I agree. Exactly 7 days later, another 4-year-old girl was raped in Calcutta. And this girl comes home bleeding. And when her father asked what happened, her 27-year-old PET teacher took her into the bathroom, stuffed her mouth with the chocolates, and raped her and sent her back home. Do you call this as innocence? Tell me, guys, are we educated animals? Tell me, guys, when we are living in this world of feeling, don't you think we are missing thinking? In a world of technology, we miss theology. In a world of information, we miss application. In a world of feeling, we miss thinking. And when we do like that, can we go on like that? No. Somewhere we feel that we are doing something wrong. I'll give you 2 examples. One example is from the grand old book called Bhagavad Gita. The other one from the very new Bollywood culture. 2 examples. And these 2 examples should make you realize what you're missing. Let me quote Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters, 720 slokas, 2 guys, Krishna and Arjuna, only 2 persons having a dialogue. Arjuna decides not to go for the war. Krishna decides to make Arjuna to wage war. There is a war between these 2 people. 16th chapter, 21st sloka, Arjuna raises a question to Krishna and says like this, Nana chitta vibranto moha jala samavruta, prashakta kama bogesha, patanti narake asucho. There are so many desires outside, so many wishes outside. When I enjoy and experience, it's good. But when it's over, I have a hellishness in me. There is a hellishness in me. Who can redeem me from that hellishness? What is he speaking about? He's speaking about only one thing, the guilt. We are humans. I'm a human being. You are a human being. You have a concept called conscience. The sense that is inside you. And that pricks you. My friend, any question that comes from outside, you answer. But the question that comes from inside, you can't answer. That is the conscience. The second example I want to give is this. The world's richest entertainer is our own Shah Rukh Khan. He has crossed over Tom Cruise in the year 2014. Okay, Shah Rukh Khan has fans associations in 101 countries. His gross income crosses 936 crores per annum. That's huge, my friends. A couple of years back, he was interviewed by Karan Thapa on the program called Coffee with Karan. And this is the program, and towards the last 4 minutes, Karan asked Shah Rukh, very interesting question. He looks at Shah Rukh, and you know how Karan Thapar asks questions? He looks at his eyes and he says, Shah Rukh, I heard that when you are out before movies, you are a lonely person. Is that true? Do you know what Shah Rukh said? Yeah, I'm a lonely person before coming to movies, and even after coming to movies, I'm a lonely person. Do you know why I move with people? I move with people because I can't be alone. Don't think I'm comfortable with people, but if I'm not with people, I can't be comfortable with myself. You say you are not comfortable with yourself? Are you not satisfied with yourself? No. I'm not satisfied with myself. For me, satisfaction is climbing a mountain. When a person climbs the mountain, he posts a flag and comes down. I don't think I had to reach the pinnacle, because if I reach the pinnacle, I have to come down. I don't want to come down. I want to always climb. I don't know what's the edge. I don't know where is the pinnacle. I don't know where is the purpose. I don't know where is my goal. I live for the day. I watched this bit 100 times. Therefore, I'm able to say exactly what Shah Rukh says. I live a meaningless life. I don't have satisfaction. That is what the greatest entertainer of the world says. He has no satisfaction. He has no joy. He lives for the day. My guys, my friends, if you think you are happy outside, you are not that inside, my friends. We live a life of dichotomy. We are happy outside, horrible inside, bubbly outside, boring inside. How long we can live a lie? How long we can live a lie? Can't you think about yourself in a very frank, straight way? Vedas gave us an answer through a prayer. Ashatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mruchorma Amrutangamaya, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I am in illusion, where is truth? I am in darkness, where is light? I am having the fear of death, where is eternity? Illusion is regarding past, light is regarding present, and death is regarding future. If I have answer for all these three, I am cool, Shanti, Bindas. And this prayer is not asked to your directors, to your friends, to your classmates, to your rishi, to your pastor, to your mullah. It's asked to God. Why only God? Because only God can answer that. Who is God actually? How do I look at God? In this world of technology, in this world of science, can I ever imagine about God? My friends, let us use our very common sense. Imagine you're walking on the road and you tripped and you fell down. You tripped and you fell down and you're not able to move up. You're not able to get up. Some stranger comes and he pulls you up, makes you to sit and gives you a cup of water. After taking the water, you look at him and said, hey, who are you? You came like God. Devulla gochaura, yavadu. Devulla gochaura, yavadu. You came like God. Why do you call him God? 3 reasons. Reason number 1, he came to you. Reason number 2, he did not fall like you. Reason number 3, he picked you out. 3 things. God should have 3 things. He should come to me. Number 2, he should not fall like me. Number 3, he should pick me out. These are the 3 things. When a system is found with virus, 3 things should happen. There should be an antivirus. Number 2, the antivirus should come here. Number 3, antivirus should not become virus. Whatever language you want to say, my friends, I can link it up. I can link it up. Because that's the fact. So who is that God? And what's my problem? Papoham, papakarmaham, papatmam, papasambhavetrahimam, deva saranagata vatsalyam. I'm born in sin, living in sin, dying in sin. Oh Pundarikaksha, I'm requesting you, can you redeem me out of this? Our problem is sin, and we are looking for somebody who can come into this sinful world, number 1, who can be without sin, number 2, who can redeem me from that sin, number 3. Who is that? That's where I want to give you a solution, and quickly I want to finish it up. My friends, if at all there is God who can solve my problem, he should have these 3 qualities. Number 1, come into the sinful world. Number 2, live a sinless life. Number 3, redeem me from my sin. And if at all there is a God like that in the history, and if he is truly having evidences, and if he is relevant to me, then it is truth. Truth has 3 qualities. Quality number 1, historicity. Quality number 2, logic. Quality number 3, relevance. If these 3 are there, it's okay. Question number 1 in Telugu. Epadaindra? Question number 3. Emaindra? Question number 3. Aiden agendi? If you can answer these 3 questions, that's called truth. Epadaindi? Emaindi? Aiden agendi? Historicity, logic, relevance. I want to bring to you that one person who fits into these 3 and gives you the perfect answer. So my friends, just give me 7 or 8 minutes and I'll present you that person with 3 reasons. And if you think I'm logical, if you think I'm historical, if you think that I'm relevant to your life, think about it, my guys. That's my is. And I think, according to me, it's Jesus Christ. Why, sir, Jesus Christ? Reason number 1 is this. When Jesus was born, we will not look into Bible. We will not refer to Christianity. We will refer to the history. History says that there was a star in the sky. But my friends, who knows whether there was a star or not? Who knows whether somebody has recorded it rightly or not? But let me tell you one thing. The science that deals with star is called astronomy. The science that deals with stars is called astronomy. 1607, Johannes Kepler, the famous astronomer, decided to find out what's the star that came when Jesus was born. He did a research for 3 years. 1609, he gave a fantastic scientific research paper to the world to prove what exactly is the star formation when Jesus Christ was born. There were 3 planets: Mars, Jupiter, and Uranus. They are going in different orbits, but on that particular moment, these 3 planets, they formed into one line. They appeared as one bright star to the human eye. And these people who are living east of Bethlehem, anybody from Iran, Iraq, and Middle East or Afghanistan, they thought it is a strange star. They follow a particular religion at that time called Zoroastrianism, which is called Persian religion. In Zoroastrianism, there is one book called Zand Avastra. You know Jandubam? Jandubam. Jandubam came from Zand. You know antivirus called Avasta? It came from Avasta. Zand Avasta. In the 5th chapter, 32nd verse, it says, when the King of Kings is born, there will be a star. The wise men of the east looked at the star, and they went to Herod the king in Jerusalem and asked, where is the king born? He said, nobody is born. But they said, we have seen a star. Then he looked into the scriptures. One of the Jewish priests opened the Bible, and he showed 500 years before, a prophet by name Micah wrote that he will be born in Bethlehem. One is the sign from the 7, the other is the sign from the prophecy, and he was born in Bethlehem. My friends, these chairs are arranged as they were designed by the engineer. These lights were arranged as the electrician designed. These mics were arranged as the sound engineer has arranged. Who will arrange the stars? It's God. It's God. He arranged the stars the way he wanted when he's born. That's why I believe Jesus is God. Number 2, where he was born. He was born in Bethlehem. It's a small village, hardly a population of 500 to 600. Where he was born in Bethlehem, in a manger. In a manger, what do you have? Cattle, cow dung, dirty place. Penda untadi, utsu untadi, domalu untai, galeez untadi. Akkada puttindi ayana. Why? Being a God, he is not born in a palace. But he wanted to be identified with the lowly of the lowly. Om Sri Daridra Narayana Namaha. You are Narayana, the world's supreme, but you became Daridra for my sake. Just imagine somebody has fallen down and I want to rescue that guy. I can't stay here. I have to go down and pick him up. If I don't go down, do you know what is the philosophy that comes? ఎక్కడో దూరాన్న కూర్చున్నావు, ఇక్కడ చిత్రాన్ని చూస్తున్నావు, మాతల రాతలు రాస్తున్నావు, గారడీ చేస్తున్నావు. ఉన్నావా? అసలు ఉన్నావా? ఉంటే కళ్ళు మూసుకున్నావా? Where did we get this philosophy? We are frustrated. We are expecting God to come down. We are expecting God to come down. And that's what I see in Bethlehem. A star in the sky and a baby in the manger. God becoming the lowliest. That's point number 1. Point number 2, in him there is no sin. Only Jesus made a classical statement, in fact, in a form of a question nobody ever made. Do you know what's the question he asked? Hey, can anybody show sin in me? Can anybody show sin in me? Jesus made that statement. Do you know why he made that statement? Because he lived a perfect life. He came into this world through a virgin and he was sinless. Veda demanded, Om Sri Kanya Sutaya Namaha. He must be born to a virgin. And Quran agreed that Jesus was born to a Mary, Isa bin Maryam. 114 chapters, 26 times Isa bin Maryam was used in Quran. Why? Quran believes he is born to a virgin. Veda demanded he must be born to a virgin. Bible says he was born to a virgin. That's the virgin birth. Number 2, he lived a sinless life. There is no sin in him. Swami Vivekananda wrote several books. One of the books he wrote was called Thus Saith Jesus. I'm quoting the book. thus saith Jesus. In that book, Swami Vivekananda makes several statements about Jesus. I want to make two of them. Number one, he was asked this question, what do you think about Jesus Christ? Do you know what he said? As a man from Eastern Orthodox religion, if anybody asked me about Jesus of Nazareth, I would say like this, if at all there is a righteous and good person in this world, it's Jesus alone. As a man from Eastern Orthodox religion, I would consider Jesus as God and God alone. ఈశాన్య సనాతన మతానికి చెందినటువంటి నేను నజరేతుకు చెందినటువంటి యేసుక్రీస్తు గురించి అడిగితే ఈ లోకంలో నీతిమంతుడు యథార్థవంతుడు ఎవడైనా ఉన్నాడంటే యేసుక్రీస్తు ఒక్కడే. ఈశాన్య సనాతన మతానికి చెందినటువంటి నేను ఆ యేసుక్రీస్తుని దేవుడిగా తప్పించి ఇంకొక విధంగా చూడలేను. And quoting another thing is like this. There was an adulterous woman caught. And do you know what she did? She came to Jesus Christ. She used her tears to wipe the feet of Jesus Christ, used her hair to wipe the legs of Jesus Christ. Do you know when Swami Vivekananda was quoting that event, he said like this, if I were there at that moment, I would have wiped the feet of Jesus with my blood. నేనే గనక అక్కడ ఉన్నట్లయితే యేసు పాదాలు నా రక్తంతో కడుగుతానన్నాడు. ఎందుకని బికాజ్ స్వామీజీ బిలీవ్స్ ఇన్ జీసస్. హీ కుడ్ నాట్ ఫైండ్ ఎ మిస్టేక్. ఆయనలో తప్పు చూడలేకపోయాడు. ద పర్సన్ హూ వాంటెడ్ టు సెంటెన్స్ జీసస్ క్రైస్ట్ టు డెత్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ పైలట్. And do you know what the judgment he gave? He gave like this, in him I find no mistake, but crucify him. And he washed his hands. Do you know why he washed his hands? So that horrible thing may not fall on his head. Number two, the person who took permission to kill Jesus Christ, when Jesus was dying on the cross, there was a solar eclipse. You know, solar eclipse doesn't happen on a lunar day. It's a lunar day. And when the solar eclipse is happening, do you know what he did? He removed his helmet and he said, this is truly God. The one who sentenced him to death said, he is God. The one who killed him said, he is God. The one who was dying with him, a thief beside Jesus Christ, when he was about to die, he looked at Jesus and said, Jesus, when you come in your kingdom, can you remember me? Nee rajyamulo nannu gnapakam unchukovalu. My friends, you might be thinking, probably Jesus lived a life as a sannyasi. Probably Jesus lived a life like a monk without touching the civilization. Never think like that. Jesus lived just like you and me with all the problems you and I could face. Number one, if you think that somebody whom you trusted deceived, Jesus can understand that. Jesus had 12 buddies and they are called disciples. One of the buddies sold him for $30. It's not an outsider. Number two, if somebody died when you are away and you are feeling so lonely, Jesus can understand, because his buddy Lazarus died and he wept. When somebody finds a mistake when you are exactly doing right, Jesus can understand that. If you are having a stress to write exam tomorrow, he can understand that. In Gethsemane, blood started coming out through sweat pores because of stress. He can understand all your problems. But the Bible says one statement. Though he went through all kinds of struggles, challenges, and temptations we have gone through, yet he was without sin. Stage 1, God became man. Stage 2, man lived holy. Stage 3, I will ask Jesus, okay Jesus, what is that you want to do? Do you know what Jesus says? Hey guys, what is the biggest problem humans are facing? Well, I think the biggest problem humans face is death. Man is unable to overcome death. Yeah. Do you know why death came? Death came because of sin. So, I have two enemies. Enemy number 1, death. Enemy number 2, the cause for the death, sin. I have to attack these two. And if at all Jesus comes to India, when pro kabaddi is being played, do you know what he says? Hey guys, I have to explain to you in kabaddi fashion. If I have to win a point from the opponent, what I have to do? I have to cross into the opponent's court, touch one of the opponent and come back and touch the line, and then I'll get the point. And that's what I need to do. I have to enter into the tomb, touch the death, and come back and become victorious over death. Mrutyurma amrutangamaya. Mrutyurma amrutangamaya. From death into eternity. I have to touch the death and come back. Why should you die? Is there no other solution? Yes, there is a second reason. The reason is this. Have you ever gone to a blood bank? The blood bank says donating blood is donating life. Rakta daname pranadanam. Because in the blood is life. You committed sin, I have to shed the blood to eradicate the sin. Sarva papa pariharo rakta prokshan avashyakam. Bruhalad Upanishad says, Sarva papa pariharo rakta prokshan avashyakam. To get rid of the sin of the whole universe, there is only one means. And the means is rakta prokshan avashyakam. The shedding of blood is necessary. Whose blood? Whose blood? Look at the second line. Tadraktam paramatmane. That blood should belong to Paramatma. How do I know it's Paramatma? Punya, Dana, Balyagam. Punya means holy. Dana means given freely. Balyagam means given voluntarily. Who has given that, my friends? Who has done that? Is that not Jesus who died on the cross? My friends, you think I'm giving a religion? I'm sorry. Religion cannot solve the problem of humanity. I'm not giving you a religion. I'm speaking about a relation. I'm not giving a philosophy. I'm presenting you a person. I'm not giving you a theory. I'm giving you a solution. And if the problem is universal, solution has to be universal. In India, of late, we have this concept called be Indian, buy Indian. And for that, they use an outside Indian source to quote. Camera comes from Japan. Screen comes from Germany. Cameraman people come from America. And they say, be Indian, buy Indian. Their andi is from China. Am I right? My friends, being technology students, remember one thing. Technology, yavadabba summu kaadu. It belongs to the whole world. Satyam, yavadabba summu kaadu. It belongs to the whole world. If what I am telling is truth, it applies to everybody. If it is not truth, you can kick me on my face. I will accept it, my friends. I will accept it. Finally, how it is relevant. I'll give you two examples and then close, my friends. Example number one, it's from my children. Example number two, it's my life, and close. From my children. I have two daughters, and it happened a couple of years ago. It was my birthday, and we have been to Kebab Studio in Bangalore. And we booked a table, and it's my birthday. About 20 of us, we went there. The guy said, you have some more time, you can play some games. My two daughters ran, and they said they need $100 because they want to play a game. Do you know what game they want to play? It's called bowling. There is a table, there are 10 sticks, and there is a screen, and they paid the money. Both their names came. My elder daughter, Sharon, my younger daughter, Shiny. My elder daughter threw the ball, she got 7 points. My younger threw the ball, she got a 0. And each one is supposed to show 10 times. My elder daughter threw the second time, she got 10. Her score is 17. My younger daughter took the ball. It has 3 holes. She was trying to insert her 3 fingers, and the ball fell on her toes. It's very painful. She picked up. I knew she's going to lose, but I don't know what to do. I was helpless, but I was trying to clap and try to motivate her. Do you know what happened? At that time, my friend Chandu, who was working in L&T, walked and stood beside Shiny. I was thinking that this guy is disturbing her. He put his hand on Shiny and he said, Shiny, can I play for you? Shiny took 2 seconds and looked up and said, come on, play for me. And she gave the ball. Chandu took the ball. And now you should see the tension of Shiny. Chandu is cool, but Shiny is with lots of tension. She looks, and then Chandu throws the ball. He gets the complete perfect 10. Computer doesn't know who threw the ball. it only counts the sticks. And immediately next to Shiny, the score 10 came. Now look at the reaction of Shiny. She looks Shiny 10 and she says, yeah, I won it. I liked it. I liked it. Do you know why I'm telling this story? We lost the game of our life. We lost. We lost. And we are completely out of control. And when we are just like that, depressed, down, lonely, unable to find an exit, then Jesus comes in and says, hey guy, can I play a game? It's your game, but I'll play if you allow. He plays our game. He wins it for us. That's called substitution. What a great thing it is, my friends. He wants to play for us. Let me give this second one and close. Guys, till 10th, I was a very good guy. I got a 10th rank in the district. That's how I was studying. Okay? The moment I went into college, intermediate, I thought that's the time where I got freedom, and I started messing around. And by the time I reached senior intermediate, that's 12th grade, I became a drug addict. I used to take pethidine, I used to take morphine and marijuana. I need 3 picks every week. That's my life. I need a lot of money. I did every possible thing to get money. I sold my mommy's wedding sari for 20 bucks. That's horrible I am. But still the money was not sufficient. I don't know what to do. At that time, a beautiful concept came in Andhra Pradesh. 3 cabarets were opened. One in Panjagutta in Hyderabad, it's called Divanchi. The other in Sanat Nagar, it's called Sridevi. The third one is called Casino in Guntur. And I'm very close to Guntur. In Guntur on Saturday and Sunday, there used to be a girl, a 10th class girl who used to dance very beautifully. And she needs a male support dancer. And people used to flock around this 10th class girl who looks gorgeous. You don't need to dance well, but you need to be very bad. If they ask you to strip, you need to strip. If they ask you to lie down, you have to lie down. But I don't care. I want bucks. So I decided to dance with her. That girl later came into movies. She played in a couple of movies and she married a very famous actor and she stopped playing in movies. Probably you know her by name. Her name is called Disco Shanti. I used to dance with her. 2 weeks, she did not come. And I can't dance. I don't have money. And I was having convulsions because I did not get the drug. November 3rd, 1984. I was standing beside the railway track because I wanted to commit suicide. I'm unable to bear the pain. 7 seconds away is the train. 7 seconds away. I closed my eyes because I don't want to look at the lights. It's 8 o'clock in the night and I was just stooping down to just fall on the track. Somebody pulled my collar from behind. I looked around with lots of fear. I thought it's a demon. No, it's my friend Suresh. I don't know who asked him to come. I don't know who sent him. He stopped and said, "Why do you want to die?" I said, "I'm having stomachache." Do you know what he said? "Ray, if you die, do you know where you would go?" Is that the question I should answer at that time? With a lot of frustration. Do you know what I said? "I will go to hell." Do you know what he said? I can exactly enact the way he said. "Arey, boom medaithe kadupuno pappudapudu vastadra, akadaithe eppudu untadi." That's how he said. If it's on the earth, you get headache, stomachache now and then. But there, it's always. I got the shock of my life. And then I said, "What should I do?" He took me aside and said, "Arey, come to Jesus. Esai దగ్గరికి రారా." These so-called Christians give these words, no? They gave that word. Esai దగ్గరికి రారా. Do you know what exactly my reaction at that time? Sorry, my friends, that was my reaction at that time. మీ తొక్కలో ఏసై నన్ను ఏం చేస్తాడు రా? మీ తొక్కలో ఏసై నన్ను ఏం చేస్తాడు చెప్పు? What this bloody Jesus can do to me? If he is holy, he cannot touch me. If he is loving, he cannot leave me. He is a dichotomous person. My friend was cool. He said, I can solve that problem. I said, how? Imagine a small guy comes to you and says, I'm hurt. I will ask him how. He will show another small guy and said, that fellow kicked me. Do you know what the small guys need? They don't need chocolates. They don't need balloons. What they need is their ego should be satisfied. Do you know what you have to do? You call that guy, kick him, and this fellow will be cool. But my problem is not solved. Do you know why? This fellow stops and that fellow starts. My friend asked me, do you have any method to keep these guys, both guys, happy? I thought for a while and said, yes. He asked me what? I'll call that guy. I will tell him, please calm down. I'll put my hand on his back, kick him twice. Do you know what he does? He immediately wipes and says, done. And that fellow looks back and says, Haulaga, nakem haula. Both these people gone. Then my friend said, I have one question. What? Last question, please. Last question. What is that question? In this whole drama, who weeps? Who weeps? No, please, 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 think. There is somebody who is weeping. It's me. It's me. Because I have hit myself. Then he said, that's Jesus. That's Jesus. Jesus is holy. He wants to take sin very seriously. And he wanted to punish the sin. But Jesus is loving. He doesn't want to punish you. He punished himself to save you. To invite that Jesus into your life is Christmas. So my friends, I gave you in short what exactly your problem and how exactly Jesus fits into it. If you think this is relevant, you can consider, my friends. If you don't mind, can you bow down your heads, close your eyes? Maybe we can be silent for 30 seconds. We have technology, but we cannot control ourselves. We have information, but we cannot do what we want. We have feelings, but our thinking is lost. And in the process, we have become guilty, lonely, hopeless, helpless, horrible. In such a situation, we are looking for a Savior. And that Savior should come to us, should not fall, but without question lift us up. And that's what Jesus did. Friends, if you think this Jesus fits into your life, why don't you invite him? I'm not giving you a religion. I'm just saying, why don't you try? I have utmost confidence to say this anywhere. Try this. If it works, your wish. There is no external pressure, force, hypnosis, nothing. If you think it works, you can ask Jesus to come into your heart. I'll say a small prayer. You can repeat that after me. Jesus, thank you so much. You explained to me where I went wrong. I am guilty. I am lonely. I need you. Come into my heart. Cleanse me. Make me a new person. Thank you. Thank you so much, my friends.
Thank you so much, sir, for your thought-provoking words, heart-touching message.